everybody, it's me, Laura, and today I'm back again with some more fun Christmas wreath jewelry, and I know a day late, a dollar short, but what can I say? This is a busy time of year. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with these wreaths that I've already pre-baked, okay? So these are already baked up, and I'm going to take a little bit of my liquid clay and my super glue, and I'm also going to bring in a couple of eye pins, and we'll go ahead and back these particular earrings, or I should say these particular wreaths. So again, like you can see here, I'm bringing in a little bit of that liquid polymer clay. I'm going to use just a little bit off of my toothpick here, put that on the back of this, and right around, I want to say, I put like two or three tiny little super glue dots on the back of this to adhere it down to the unbaked clay. Now I do this mainly because if I don't, the thing moves. It's kind of like everywhere. And I thought that's why I have to put these little dots of super glue down when I go ahead and attach in the back side of this. So right here too, I'm also bringing in those eye pins, and notice how short they are. I made that little hook on there at the very end, but I'm making them very short because the clay that I'm going to be attaching it in with, I don't want it too long, otherwise it's going to show through on the other side. And it's like, okay, what was the point of that, right? Unless I hang something in the center, which I'm not going to really do this time. I thought, no, let's go ahead and we'll change it up. And then we'll go ahead and bring in our needle tool and then cut around the edge on this wreath. Now I know I could reuse my cutter again, but to me, I find I like my needle tool because every time I cut around and follow the edges of the little hard polymer clay piece, I get a much better look, and I don't have to worry about any, extra clay hanging on that I might have to knock off later. So it really does make it nice in this regard. So like I said, I'm taking these two small wreaths, and we're going to save both of these back for our pendant pieces. However, one of these, I'm bringing in some 26 gauge wire, some silver wire, and we're going to twist these three pieces together. I'll cut off the one end, and then I'll sink it into the unbaked clay underneath, and then bake both of these at 275 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. Now check where you live. I live in a dry, arid climate, so it goes a little bit faster for me. That's why I can say 7 to 10. For you, it might be a little bit more of a longer baking time. So check your climate, check your altitude before you bake your clay pieces. Now last time I had made these particular wreaths, I think you remember where I had cut out the particular light green to dark green wreaths, and I inserted different leaf colors. Well, I'm taking these wreaths, and these are going to act as our earrings, and I'm backing these all on their own as well. Again, notice I'm making those short little hooks on the eye pins so that they will sit right behind the wreath and they won't show up. All right, so now we're going to start working on our wreath earrings, and notice I'm using the ones with the, the little lighter color green to the darker color green type wreaths. And I'm bringing in here, this was my emerald green. I thought, let's go ahead and use that on the color shift paints. I did not get this in last time, and I wanted to do a little session here on the painting bit because these are, oh, they are so much fun to paint. You get lost in it. I mean, if you want just to be able to relax and not have to think about it, this is how I sit and I don't think. You sit down, you take a little bit of this paint, take your little tiny detailed brush, and just go around this wreath and just paint it all up. Now, I decided to bring in also my green flash and the pastel green. That's why I'm showing you right here. And right here, we're using the pastel green, actually right in the middle area. I started looking at the green flash and I thought, this might work. I could use that. But see, that light green in the wreath that's already there, this already kind of is that green flash. It's just not flashy. If that makes any sense at all. It doesn't have that, that glossy kind of shiny look, but it's the same kind of color, right? So I figure instead, take the pastel green, which is definitely a different color, put that on the inside part of the wreath, and then I'll come back and I'll use a little bit of that light green to do up a little bit of a dot pattern on those light green leaves in this wreath. At this point, I've started using that green flash. I made the little dots on the light green leaves, and then I'm bringing in my varnish here after it's dried, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint over, or I should say varnish over both earrings, right? And in doing this, yes, I know I probably should have waited, right? And added in all the little other extra attachments I wanted to put in. But I was like, no, I want to see it glossy and nice and sheeny and shiny and everything else. So sheeny, shiny, and enjoy it, right? I figure I can always come back in with a little bit of super glue and glue it in on the top. And that's really what I did here. Now, mind you, if you don't want to do that, you want to make sure it's all in super good and everything, you could go ahead and either use your liquid clay or your super glue before you varnish and put the little attachments in. You're going to be seeing that I add into these wreaths. But to me, I thought, nah, I'm just gonna make it real easy on myself, and I'm not gonna have to do that. So I'm coming in right here then with some of that darker green clay. This has been rolled out on a number 4 setting on my Atlas pasta machine, and I'm gonna lay this down, and I decided I'm gonna go ahead and cut out, using those smaller cutters from that Keoker cutter set, some of those little evergreen trees. And then I thought, okay, not just the evergreen trees, we want to add in more stuff, right? And I wasn't going to do just the trees. So I had to bring in another clay, right? And so my red seemed like the obvious choice. And I started cutting out more stuff here. Like I got the candy canes, I've got the little boot here, my little stocking. And this way I went ahead and baked all of these pieces as soon as I got done cutting them all out. And again, baking them 275 degrees, 7 to 10 minutes. And you can bake this 7 to 10 minutes because it's so thin. It's on a number 4 setting. That clay is really thin. It's not a quarter of an inch thick. So because it's not a quarter of an inch thick, you can go less time, which is great, right? Anyway, I'm doing some bows, and I thought once I got these all cut out, I ripped up the extra clay and then baked all the little pieces. Now, in cutting out all of these little pieces, I also decided to bring in my tiniest Kemper cutters, my circle and my heart. And I decided to go ahead and cut out more and more of these little guys, right? And you guys are going to kill me. But here's the thing. When I went to go do this, I thought I was going to really use all the little different pieces from the Keoker set. And really when it boiled right down to it, I used the hearts mainly, most of all, instead. And this was mainly because I was thinking, okay, it's after Christmas, right? Well, not quite. I mean, it's still 12 days of Christmas yet, you know, that kind of thing. But that all said, we're going to be looking at our next holiday. So I thought, why not take my little Christmas wreaths here? Can't talk. Little Christmas wreaths and add in the hearts instead. This way then this gives a little bit of a hint of the next holiday coming up, so like Valentine's Day, and maybe you want to be able to have a wreathy kind of a thing, but you could add in the little hearts and it kind of speaks to both holidays. Ha ha! Laura gets genius all of a sudden. Yeah, right. Anyway, sorry, I know I am way off my base here. Anyway, adding in the little hearts, and then I brought in my little Posca white 0.7 millimeter, paint marker. I couldn't help it. I got to, bring that thing in, and I'll add in little dots on these hearts. So it just adds in a nice little extra detailed feature that I loved. Now, if you don't like how it looks with the little dots, you can always forget the little dot thing and just do it plain like I've got going on right here. I did decide to add in my earring findings and get that done right away, and this way then don't have to worry about it. Okay, so in creating the matching wreath pendant, first off, here's the thing. I did not have the little cutout like I did with the earrings, the light green inserted leaves like I had on that. This was all dark green. So I had to bring in my green flash and paint the outside leaves that green flash, and then the emerald flash right next to it in between. And then I did, of course, the pastel green in the center. After that, then and see, the way I had done this, because it's an odd number or it's an even number, whatever you call it, I always have to have those two. Because I do every other one, it's not going to match up in the end. So I placed the two that weren't going to match up on the bottom there. I placed that off-white or off-color kind of heart. and then placed the smaller red hearts right on the side like I did with my super glue, and then eventually come in with that other heart and place it in the center of that off-white heart. It covered up the two leaves that were going to not be in sync with the light green, dark green on the outside of the wreath, and I was able to add in that heart. I then brought in my eye pins and, well, not my eye pins, but my jump ring to go ahead and finish this up and add in the necklace piece. But I also brought in that Posca because you knew I was going to do it, right? Brought in the Posca and added in the little dots on this particular pendant. Now here's the thing, when I went ahead and did all the little dots on the hearts, I got a little bit happy and I decided, guess what? That bow is too plain, so I filled it in with some of that white Posca and I loved it. It was kind of like it gave that nice little red highlight or outline to where I had put the white. All right, so now it's going to be our little surprise fun wreath. And yes, I'm coming back to that one where I had the wire stuck in it. This one will have a little added feature. I'll talk about that here in a second. But what I wanted to tell you right off, we're going back to that dark green wreath. I'm bringing in that green flash, and that green flash this time is going to be around the center part of the wreath. And then I'm going to bring in that pastel green and have that painted up all of the leaves on the outside. Okay, so when I went to go and finish up this little surprise wreath I'm working on, I decided to go with the trees. Yeah, I know. I hear I did this whole thing and I didn't even, I'm not going to use the little red parts. And I'm bringing in this particular tree. Now, you guys are going to be like, what? Where did you get that? This is actually one of my drawn designs. I love my pen and ink and I love my colored pencil. And so I decided to take one of my Christmas tree cutters, my regular cookie cutters, and I drew an outline and then I drew inside of that and created up my own design. Once I got the design done, put it into my computer, shrunk it down, and then I did the transfer technique with polymer clay, and I'll put that little technique in the description area, so if you want to go visit that again, you can. And decided, let's go ahead and add that into this wreath. Woohoo! Now, I know some of you are going to be like, Laura, we want one of those trees too. Okay, I'm working on it. Okay, I just wanted to show you the potential here. I just haven't quite got around to, okay, offering that up. But eventually I will be, and you'll be able to buy possibly a little PDF off of me if you want to ever try this. But I wanted to show you the potential, if nothing else, of where if you do like to draw and you enjoy that sort of thing, you can take your drawn images and put them into your earrings or your pendants, just like I'm doing here. And then I decided to add in those little tiny trees, the little green trees right around it, and I went ahead and painted those up and then curled up my wire. So from here, really, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let you guys watch my hands talk as I finish up this little fun pendant. All right, so this is the end result of creating my fun little Christmas wreaths in polymer clay. Please use this for study and reference. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.